3 opportunities in the red zone to come away with 0 points is absolutely unbelievable. As the number
They're
9th best team in the country, and you're going to let somebody like Duke, who's been horrible, their football program has been horrible for so many years, absolutely pathetic by Clemson.
It's like it's eventually going to happen. Your team is eventually going to fall apart. They're not going to be good. And it's just It's what's happening right now. I don't care that Bill Belichick's one of the greatest coaches of all time.
Brian Kelly doesn't get this team ready. That's going to hurt him throughout the year when they get into SEC play. He's got to get his team ready to play, and hasn't done that in big games his entire career.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Board Podcast today. I'm back with my boys Drew, Jeff, Jack, and we're going to be talking about a little bit of Shohei at the beginning, and then we're going to transition into some college football and some NFL, especially with the NFL coming up. It's going to be a big topic discussion. You're not going to miss out on this one. Let's get rolling real quick, get some Shohei stuff out of the way, and then we'll go right in. Drew?
Yeah, so Shohei Ohtani came out, tore his UCL. In a game against the Reds. Continued hitting. He's still hitting for the Angels, but he's not going to pitch. He's going to need Tommy John surgery again. And this is in his contract year. So he's potentially missing out on hundreds of millions of dollars because of this.
Yeah, it's not good for him. It's good for teams who are looking to buy him. It's possibly good for the Angels if they want to try go for a big re-sign here, because teams are not going to make as big of a splash as they might have before. But overall, it's just kind of an L for the baseball community not being able to see Shohei Ohtani do his thing.
Right, and I think that this is going to hurt him in the offseason. I know a lot of teams are going to throw the kitchen sink at him, but they're going to definitely have to take this into question. And, who knows how he's going to be affected by it, but I think that we can all say that this is pretty much the end of the Angels season this year.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's
going to be interesting.
Towards UCL, and then they waived Giolito, Lopez, Renfroe, and Grichuk. And then they still didn't get under the luxury tax. So this is just a...
Oh, because Renfroe didn't... I think the deal wasn't complete.
Grichuk didn't clear. Renfroe's on the Reds.
Yeah, Grichuk.
And they're done. He's gone.
Mm-hmm. I don't think there's any world where he re-signs with them.
No, he's gone now, especially since
after they built a crappy roster around him to start, went for it in the offseason, missed on literally every single trade, and then called up their first-round draft pick after 2 months in the minors. It's just a total disaster.
It's not good. Speaking, before we head over to some college football, another not good thing, my Chicago White Sox have fired their GM. Great stuff. I hated that guy. Most White Sox fans, everybody here can agree. And then they hired somebody within their organization, aka the same organization, who screwed up this entire rebuild. So, if you're a White Sox fan like me watching this, sorry, prepare for another 4 years minimum of rebuild and then failure. It's not going to happen again with this. I'd recommend if you have any way of getting out of being a Sox fan at this point, go for it. I'm stuck in it. If you can get out of it, get out of it as soon as go to the Giants, go to the Cubs, go anywhere else pretty much. It's not named the Royals or Athletics.
I wouldn't jump too fast over to San Francisco.
I would.
It's better than the White Sox. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's not saying much.
You guys are in the wild card race.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, but they just got swept.
Last weekend, Labor Day weekend, we had week 1 of college football. We are so back, and we had some crazy games. So the first one I want to touch on is Clemson Duke.
Okay, I have some
stories
Clemson
about this one. At home, 28-7, and Clemson dropped 16 spots in the rankings. They're 25th now, And
Yeah,
Duke jumps
so
up
I
to
have
21st.
Yeah.
I have stories about this. So I'm in the lounge in my dorm. We're watching this. I had told my friend to put 20 on Duke, and one of the other people in the lounge, I wouldn't call him a friend. He goes and decides, with no prior connection to Clemson or Duke, decides that he despises Duke, and Duke winning would be the worst thing to ever happen, just to make my friend unhappy. So anyway, when Duke wins, he goes over. We have these big chairs. Goes over, flips the chair, and lays down on the floor crying for a good 5 minutes for a team he has no connection to. So I had some memorable moments from that game. I mean, the red zone offense by Clemson was just horrendous. I mean,
It was just so bad.
That's some of the worst red zone offense I've seen ever in a college football, let alone even high school football game. I mean, that was just absolutely terrible. I mean,
they're at the 1 yard line twice, and they fumbled
they were in
both times.
That's just crazy.
They were in the red zone 3 times and came away scoreless all 3 times.
No.
The only time, go ahead.
They interviewed Dabo Swinney after the game. He said that he was stunned. He's never gotten his ass handed to him that badly like he was Monday night. This is a team that, look, coming into this game, people were already manifesting this Duke upset, and they played right into their hands. I mean, this team was horrible. I mean, there's a lot of teams that, you can lose close games. It's like a top 10 team. Clemson, for example, they lost on a field goal to Pitt in 2016, I think, early in September. But this is just awful. They were horrible the entire game. And, it serves them right. I don't even think they should be ranked. 16 spots falling down just barely to 25. They benefit from that. And, they had no offense whatsoever. They were able to get down into the red zone, and they'd piss it away. I mean, 3 opportunities in the red zone to come away with 0 points is absolutely unbelievable. As the number 9th best team in the country, and you're going to let somebody like Duke, who's been horrible, their football program has been horrible for so many years, absolutely pathetic by Clemson. And, they deserve to drop out of those rankings.
Yeah, so it's interesting because a lot of these top teams schedule their first week as a tune-up game. Georgia played Tennessee Martin, Alabama played Middle Tennessee, stuff like that. And then it seems like Duke was scheduled as Clemson's tune-up game because they just went in thinking they were just going to walk all over them, and then they just got destroyed.
What's absolutely horrendous about this, too, is that if you look, I'm looking at the team stats here. Clemson had more total yards, 422 to 374, more passing yards, more rushing yards. The only thing they struggled in is yards per play, but they had only 1 penalty for 5 yards as opposed to Duke's 7 for 45, which some were absolute BS. There were a few BS penalties. I mean, their 4th down efficiency, 0 for 2. That's not good. 7 for 15 on 3rd down isn't great, but it's, Duke went 5 for 15. 29 first downs, 422 yards, 33 minutes time of possession, and you have 7 points to show from it. That is just inexcusable from what was a 9th-ranked team.
Well, that's what happens
I agree with Jeff here.
Dabo Swinney doesn't have a generational talent under center.
Oh, yeah.
The whole team falls apart.
Completely agree. And Clemson,
5, they should not be top even 30. It's
right.
ridiculous.
They got their asses handed to them by a rival in the ACC.
James Madison got a vote, and I don't think Clemson shouldn't have even gotten votes.
Yeah. And you think about it, Clemson honestly should have been shut out. The only time they scored was out of a Duke turnover that set them up in really good position at like the 25-yard line.
Yeah.
That was the only time they scored.
A shutout.
They didn't have a
kills
successful
their season,
drive.
I think, honestly. They can still get a bowl. They're still going to get a bowl game. I think if they get shut out by Duke, you just got to kill the season, basically. Because
I think that the season it's not over for Clemson. Let's
it
be
kinda
honest. It's
is.
one game. Not really, because Oregon was
They're
blown out by
gonna get
46
killed by Florida
last
State.
year. And then they were number 6, I think, in the rankings for some time in November. But you can fight your way back. You can scratch and claw your way back to the top 10. But for them, it's kind of the same issue we saw last year. Their offense sometimes is just non-existent. And ever since that game against Georgia, I think a couple years ago, where they lost 10-3 in the opener, it's just been a curse on this Clemson football team. There is absolutely zero offense coming from any of this, guys.
Well,
and that's going to be a problem that needs to be fixed.
So next 2 weeks they've got Charleston and Florida Atlantic, so hopefully they'll win those. But then they've got Florida State, who look really good.
We'll get to that later.
They've got Syracuse, who, I mean, they're not great, but we'll see what happens there. Miami, they've got Wake Forest, who they should beat. Then they've got Miami. They've got NC State. They've got Notre Dame. They've got UNC and South Carolina.
Awesome.
Like, oh my gosh. It's just unless they can turn it around on offense, it's just looking brutal for Clemson.
Speaking of Florida State, move on to that game.
LSU.
That was slobber knock.
They're out of the rankings right now.
LSU?
Yeah.
LSU.
No,
they're 14th. Sorry, I didn't see that. I was kind of weirded out by that, but it made sense.
Keon Coleman just went off.
Yeah.
Dude,
The new transfer.
Travis has just shot up the Heisman rankings. I mean,
I think he wins the Heisman. I legitimately think Travis wins the Heisman.
Oh, well, I have a different pick for Heisman, but we'll get to that when we talk about Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come on.
But Florida State looks like a
looking
genuine
at that
contender this year, I think.
Right, and I mean,
so
they
good.
played terrible in the first half. Same with LSU. That game was horrendous in that first half. But they turned it on in the second half. They found offense. Jordan Travis didn't completely suck it up like he did in that first half. He was actually making all these plays, and LSU had no way to stop this guy. I mean, he's the clear-cut best quarterback in the ACC by a mile. I think there was a little bit discussion with Cade Klubnik from Clemson and whatnot. Maybe Drake May.
I can hear the Drake May fans whining.
Drake May. Yeah. There's no way. He doesn't even touch Travis. And this team is going to get rolling because it's been a long time since Florida State's had a good football program. They've got it here this year. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see in the ACC with them.
I wouldn't be surprised if they make the college football playoff.
I think
possibility.
I hope they do.
They should go undefeated as the ACC champion, which should get them in.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, a couple blowouts. We got Georgia beating Tennessee Martin 48-7. Michigan beats East Carolina 30-3. They're still 1-2. Bama jumps up a spot. They beat Middle Tennessee 56-7. Florida State's up 4 spots. Ohio State beats Indiana 23-3 and still drops 2 spots. That's kind of
that's the right thing to do. Thing to do for those.
They should have
USC beats Nevada 66-14. They stand at 6. Penn State's at 7 still. Washington jumps up to 8. Tennessee jumps up 3 spots to 9. Notre Dame up 3 spots to 10. And that rounds out the top 10.
What I have to say about FSU is that first game, they got that first half. I mean, the penalties, they got screwed in penalties.
Oh, yeah. That was just
absolutely mauled. I would want, my roommate is a Florida State fan. Grew up in Miami, but Florida State fan. He was raging, and I mean some of us were too because LSU. I mean, there was just some bad penalty calls, but I mean, props to FSU. They played their hearts out, and they showed the nation what team they truly are, and that's a good team. Yeah. The issue is you have a 2-headed receiving monster here. You have your 6'7" boy who's gonna just 6'7" and frickin' Jordan Travis, or not Jordan Travis. Johnny Wilson, who's gonna 104 yards, and then Keon Coleman, who had 122 yards. How are you gonna defend that? Because
it's just
double Wilson, you're leaving Coleman.
Having 2 elite receivers in college football is just such an advantage.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And the thing with LSU is Brian Kelly did not play Mason Smith the way they were supposed to. he was like the best way that Mason Smith plays is spying the quarterback, and Brian Kelly did not play Mason Smith the way that he should have been playing, and it might have been a much different game if Brian Kelly let Mason Smith do what he does best and spy the quarterback.
Yeah.
I got to touch on Brian Kelly here just for a minute. This guy, I'm so sick and tired of Brian Kelly. I got to be honest with you. He is probably the most overrated coach in college football of the past 15 years. What has this guy done? When he was at Notre Dame, they went undefeated, I think, up until the BCS title game, blown out. Every playoff game they've ever made, blown out. I mean, and now he goes to LSU, and he can't win these games. And it looks like he doesn't have his team prepared for this. That's when you're looking at like some of these games, like on Sunday night. Florida State, they came ready to play. Sure, they made some mistakes in that first half, but LSU, they were non-existent for some of that game. And while they did have a couple of good plays, it's just that Brian Kelly doesn't get this team ready. That's going to hurt them throughout the year when they get into SEC play. He's got to get his team ready to play, and hasn't done that in big games his entire career. And that's kind of the one damp spot with Brian Kelly's coaching career. He needs to do a way better job of getting his team ready to play against these top teams.
Yeah, he
There
did.
just seems to be no
he should have never
rally.
left UC.
There just seems to be no rally, no leader there because they just look.
Oh, he's not a leader.
lost.
No
There's
way.
There's nobody leading that team when there should be, and that's Brian Kelly's job to either be the leader or appoint a leader on the team to be that guy to take control. I mean, it's just not gonna work for the LSU Tigers if you have nobody. It's a manless ship. I mean, it's just a ship floating on its own. People trying to rescue themselves from going overboard, and it's not working. It's just terrible.
Right. It's
Some other key players like Major Burns he's one of their better cornerbacks. He got absolutely torched by Keon Coleman the whole game.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to be like one of the better players in college football. And offense, Jaden Daniels. He was fine in the first half. Nothing in the second half. Horrible. He was
and it goes
terrible in
back
the second half.
It goes back to getting the team ready because, like you said, these guys aren't playing well. That's his fault. I mean, he's talking all this garbage about, we're going to beat the heck out of FSU. No, you didn't. You got beat the heck out of 2 years in a row. I mean, and it's a pattern with him because Notre Dame, every big game Notre Dame has played for probably the last 15 years or whenever the hell he was head coach, they've won nothing. They haven't even made it close. They were blown out against Alabama twice, BCS and the playoff, and then blown out against Clemson. And then they made the ACC championship game. No, not ACC championship game. But they had a big game, regular season game against Clemson and Charlotte, and then blown out of the water. So, I mean, this is a guy that historically has not been able to get his team ready for the big game. And if you think it's going to change with LSU, it's not because we've already seen it twice, and he hasn't been able to do that.
Yeah. All right. 2 more games.
They just look like the most lost team in college football. Yeah. I think that's the perfect way to sum that game up. Is they just look completely.
It's interesting. I saw somebody say that they were only ranked 5th to start the season to boost up the SEC a little bit.
Yeah, I saw that too, and they probably were.
They probably were a little bit because there were teams, I think, below them that were clearly better.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Before the season, in the offseason, the entire time, I was like, I don't buy the LSU hype. They have the same exact team from last year. That last year's team went 9-3. So what makes people think they're going to go 11-1, 12-0, probably win the SEC championship, and maybe go to the playoff? I just didn't see it. Brian Kelly is not that type of coach. Jaden Daniels, there's a reason he transferred out of ASU. He wasn't that good. He's just a one-ball quarterback. He can't throw that well. This team is probably going to go 9-3, 8-4 again. I just
Speaking of ASU, obviously I go to Arizona State, so I have some personal experience with their game against the Southern Utah Thunderbirds, which was an interesting game to say the least. I was there. First half was great. I mean, it doesn't look bad. I'm gonna say it. I mean, it doesn't look good. It's not a good football team. I'm not going to say that. They barely beat Southern Utah, but there also is conditions you have to put in place there. I mean, I'm sure people who watched it on TV, there was a giant dust storm which turned into a monsoon, and it was terrible. I mean, there were no fans left because they told us all to leave. 3-hour delay. The field was nasty. The conditions were bad. It just turned into a complete, basically reversion in the 1950s where it's a complete mess. I mean, but it was a fun game to be at. There was hope. 24-21 isn't the best scoreline, but I mean, Rashada looked good. He surprised me. True freshman, 18 for 31, 236 yards, 2 touchdowns. Take it with a grain of salt. It is Southern Utah, but he made some good on-the-dot throws in coverage that I saw that were beautiful. Nothing else much that was super-duper impressive. Defense was negligible. I mean, no interceptions on either side, but I mean, really, you just have to look at the first half to see what the actual game was like. Southern Utah, they have no chance anywhere, but they played a decent game against Arizona State. Although I think if weather was perfect and as it was during the first half, especially the first quarter, Arizona State blows them out. But this week's gonna be a fun week for us at the On the Board crew. Oklahoma State versus Arizona State rivalry. For us, Jeff goes to Oklahoma State. I go to Arizona State. This is all for bragging rights, I think.
It's gonna be a massacre.
Yeah. So, I'd like to offer my surrender right now to Oklahoma State as an Arizona State fan.
Accept.
Okay.
We might not be able to put up more than 24 points, but that's all right.
We can't put up any, so it'll be fine.
All right. Last game, probably this was the game of the week, if you had to ask me. Colorado goes down to TCU unranked. TCU's number 14 at the time, and they beat them 45-42. You had, it was just a great game both ways for both teams. A barn burner if you've ever seen one.
Oh yeah.
Shedeur Sanders for Colorado threw for 500 yards on 80% completion, which is just stupid.
And he set the school record.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And Travis Hunter for Colorado played 120 snaps both ways.
Jesus.
Interception.
Doomed football players everywhere who cramp up.
Not to mention the true freshman running back, Dylan Edwards, who rushed for 4 touchdowns.
He was electric, too.
4 receivers over 100 yards.
Yeah. Colorado up to 22.
3 receiving touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown for Dylan Edwards. I mean, dude's insane.
Mm-hmm. He was
TCU's horrible, though.
Yeah.
Both defenses bad.
Well, I mean, this team...
Oh, yeah, defense is an issue.
This team is not the same team that went to the playoff last year. They lost 30 guys.
Yeah,
you can't expect them to be that good, but you can expect them to beat Colorado usually. So to me, I would say that Colorado's kind of the real deal. I wouldn't be surprised.
I
wouldn't be surprised if we see them top 15 at some point in this season.
I mean, Travis.
Well, and they're right where they should be. 22. And I mean, they're ranked where they should be, probably number 22. Not really too high, not too low. And it's a good first opener, a test on the road against TCU. You can say defense is a little bit concerning, but that's whatever. It's TCU at home. You know they're going to put up some points.
They're going to score. It's college football. I mean,
right. We've seen what their offense can do, and people, I think, got a little bit ahead of themselves with Colorado. And we'll see how they do. They're off to a great start, but it's the Pac-12 with USC, Oregon, Utah. Those are going to be the true tests for Colorado.
We'll
see down the road.
Travis Hunter is my Heisman pick. But
I just don't see them giving it to someone other than a quarterback.
Well, I mean,
I think
it's got to be him. If he plays elite as a receiver and elite as a defensive back like he did against TCU, he has to be. That's the best player in college football.
Yeah, I mean, and going back to TCU, their quarterback, he's not good. I mean, he was there last year. He started week 1, but then he was so bad. Sonny Dykes decided to put Max Duggan in, and actually they benefited it, and they went to the championship.
Duggan was the runner-up for Heisman.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about it this way. I mean, the Pac-12 is a good is as funny as it sounds. It's a decent conference this year. I mean, technically, right now the Pac-12 is undefeated. Yeah. It's just funny to hear. Oregon's gonna be good. Oregon,
81 points. That's somewhat
points.
Impressive.
USC, Caleb Williams. They have no defense. They're gonna struggle against really good teams, but they have Caleb Williams in an offense. Arizona State is gonna be bottom of the barrel. They're probably going 1-11. I mean, they're not winning another game, I'd say. But Colorado, I agree with Drew on this one. I think Colorado, I do agree right now. They should be at 22 is a good spot for them. I kind of really do see, I'll say it, I agree with Drew. Travis Hunter, I think, is probably my Heisman favorite if he can continue at this level. I mean,
I'm not saying he's my favorite. I think if Colorado continues to be good, it probably is going to be Shedeur Sanders. But I would personally like to see Travis Hunter win it.
I just think it makes more sense when you have a guy playing. I mean, he's playing offense and defense.
We talked about it last episode. You have to have an all-time season to beat out a decent quarterback season, and he's having one. But Shedeur Sanders, the more Travis Hunter succeeds as a receiver, Shedeur Sanders is also succeeding. So
and it's.
I mean, we'll see. I hope they're successful this year.
But I mean, if you look at 2020,
player, I think that'd be funny.
I mean, Devontae Smith. We talked about it last episode. You weren't here, Jack, but we laid out that season, and that's like an all-time receiving season, and that's what he had.
And Mac Jones was. Yeah. Mac Jones was the runner-up, and they were on the same team. It was just. Yeah. And for Devontae Smith to beat out Mac Jones, who's on the same team, who was throwing to him most of the time, that just proves Devontae Smith had a really good season, and maybe Travis Hunter can do the same thing this year.
Yeah. So next
but it's going to take a
he
lot.
Has the advantage of playing defense.
Next week, ranked matchups. We've got Mississippi and Tulane. I'm not too familiar with either team. But,
Mississippi was great in week 1. I know it's against Mercer.
73-0.
Yeah. This team is something to watch out for in the SEC, and that's going to be a great game against Tulane.
Yep.
Yeah, and Tulane, I think, is going to be, once again,
UNC's playing App State. Washington's playing Tulsa. Michigan against UNLV. Texas A&M's playing Miami. That could be a good game.
Yeah.
Tennessee versus Austin Peay. Florida State's playing Southern Miss, LSU versus Grambling State, USC versus Stanford. Nobody really expects anything much out of those games. Georgia's playing Ball State. That's going to be a massacre.
Oh, yeah.
And then here's the one that everybody's looking at. And prepare yourselves. Jack's about to start fangirling really hard. We've got number 3 Alabama and number 11 Texas in Tuscaloosa. So, Jack, what are we thinking?
So this is going to be I think this is going to be a tight game. Texas is a good team, as it was last year. 20-19, Alabama won. Texas has Quinn Ewers back, their number 1 receiver, as well as Xavier Worthy. They have A.D. Mitchell as well. But I think the problem with Texas is Steve Sarkisian. He is not built to win more than 9 games in a season. I don't think the atmosphere in Tuscaloosa is going to be insane. I don't think any of the Texas players have experienced anything like an
I
SEC
wouldn't
atmosphere.
say that. I wouldn't say that. They play at Texas. Like,
that's true, but they haven't experienced
that's one of the biggest football culture. That's the biggest football culture in America is Texas football.
Right.
So
yes, but they haven't on the road.
Yeah, I get they've
like,
never been to like Death Valley or anything like that, but I get what you're saying. I just don't. It's disingenuous to say they haven't experienced an environment like that because they definitely have.
I guess that's true, but SEC atmospheres, even though Texas, Dark Air Royal Stadium, even though it is all 100,000, the SEC atmospheres are ridiculous. But
it's different.
It's not discredit to Texas, but the atmosphere, football in the South is just a lifestyle down there. And going back to the actual game, Alabama's offensive line is, I'm pretty sure I looked at this. Their average weight is like 365 pounds. They're gonna have probably
some big boys.
Oh my god!
2 to 3 All-Americans and 2 freshmen, Caden Proctor, Trevor Booker, and J.C. Latham, who Latham is probably going to go top 10 in this draft this coming year.
Go to the Bears.
And then on defensive side, they lost linebacker Will Anderson, but they still have another linebacker, another All-American who's probably going to go top 10, and Dallas Turner. Their secondary, safeties are Caleb Downs, who's a true freshman, who their coach Nick Saban said he's been outstanding through spring ball, fall practice, fall camp, all that stuff. So we decided to start him, and he did good. All-American Kool-Aid McKinstry, who is going to go top 10 as well.
Top 5 college football name.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Next to
Malachi Moore as well, and then the UAB transfer Jalen Key. And Malachi Moore and Jalen Key, they are Saban said they're listed as day-to-day, but I'm pretty sure they were at practice today. They were in full pads. I'm pretty sure they're going to play Saturday night. And that could be the difference maker. Because if Texas...
without going into this, and this is the weakest their quarterback has probably looked in a while. I mean...
For Bama?
Yeah, for Bama.
Well, I think their quarterback looked really good.
I'm just saying,
really good.
Great last week.
He looked great. I think he kind of squashed any doubts, if you ask me.
Yeah.
It's middle. My issue is it's Middle Tennessee.
You said the same thing.
Well, that's every top.
That's every
team.
you could say, well, okay, great. Georgia beat whoever they played. I don't even remember, and I just looked at it.
And Georgia beat Tennessee.
I'm just
Martin,
saying
but Carson Beck was not good at all.
Yeah, I agree. Georgia didn't look good at all in that first half, and then they turned it on. Just
horrible in that first half.
Well, to be fair, that happens kind of a lot with these tune-up games. Is that they'll come out.
But you're the number one ranked team.
Yeah, I mean it happens.
That's no excuse.
It always happens, though. There was a couple years ago, Alabama was close with Citadel, and then they won the national championship.
That's true.
So I mean, I still think
Bama's gonna win. Yeah. I'm just saying, I think that's what makes it a closer game than it would be in any other situation, and what gives Texas any chance is that there's still a little bit of uncertainty in terms of quarterback, as opposed to having Bryce Young, who we knew last year what was coming out.
Well, didn't Texas play Bama close last year? Am I mistaken?
They did, yeah. Alabama won 20-19.
So maybe with
the first quarter,
maybe with viewers this year, it's a little different.
Exactly.
Well, I think
it's going to be a close, good game. I agree with Jack. I think Bama probably takes us out just based on.
I think they probably take it by a score.
Their talent. I do agree. I think it's going to be a high scoring, high offense game. And this, I think, if Bama can convincingly win this puts them back up in the number one conversation.
Can I just add something to that?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff.
So I completely disagree with all of you. So Alabama's favored.
Incoming Jeff.
Yeah. Alabama's favored by 7.5.
Mm-hmm.
I would hammer that. Lay the points, do whatever you do. Alabama is going to roll over Texas. This is not even going to be close. Texas did not look good in that opener against whoever they played.
Rice.
And Rice. So you guys talking about Alabama and how their new quarterback didn't look that good. I thought he looked great. I mean, he can run the ball.
I think he looked
It's
great
in
too.
Tuscaloosa, and it's a night game, correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way Texas is going to survive. This is going to be a rout, and I would be shocked if Texas makes it close. That would actually be concerning for Alabama. But you've heard it here first. Alabama's blowing Texas out of the water. Right. Not going to be close.
So next. Oh wait, we talked about next week already. That was what that was, and then we've got Colorado. They get some Big Ten football. They're playing Nebraska. They're at Nebraska.
That could be. No, I think it's
tough place to play.
Well, it's a tough place to play when they're good, but when the stadium's 3/4 empty, I don't know.
Yeah,
they don't really get 3/4 empty.
Yeah, they do. Have you seen the pictures
Nebraska?
of the stadiums? Yeah.
Nebraska
sellout streak, but it's because
crowd.
the booster clubs buy out the rest of the seats. I mean, it is early season, so I guess they'll be out, but.
That's all they got in Nebraska.
Their fans did sell out,
so they're gonna get.
I don't count that. That's like a novelty thing, Jack. The volleyball game.
Yeah, that there was a concert there too. That was a
it's the only thing in Nebraska that there is to do. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking from experience, I've been there about 800 times. So.
All right, so. That's our college football.
You live in Oklahoma right now. There's just about as much to do there as there is in Nebraska.
That's true.
Yeah, there's a little bit more than Nebraska, though, because I think 98% of what makes up Nebraska is cornfields. So.
Yeah, you guys are only like 85.
Well, 85% of oil.
Wheat.
So.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oil fields. So.
My bad.
We got
Oklahoma. I'm not an Oklahoma expert. I'm sorry.
We're through college football here. We're gonna step it up. We're going pro.
Oh, yeah.
So this is recorded Wednesday afternoon. So this is before the Kansas City Chiefs Detroit Lions game. I don't know if this is going to be out before then. I'll see what I can do about it. But let's start with that Thursday night football game. What do we got going into there?
So big news, obviously.
Travis Kelce hyperextended his knee, so he is
Will.
unlikely to play. I don't think he's going to play.
Everybody who drafted Travis Kelce in the first round is in sorrow right now.
It's fine. It's 1 week. He'll
be fine.
I think he'll be
Travis Kelce. He'll be the number one target in Kansas City.
I don't think they need to play him. I think they can do fine without him.
No.
And then there's no reason to risk his health right now for a week 1 game against
the Lions.
Yeah.
It is going to be it is going to be
Lions.
It's going to be a Lions Chiefs classic.
The classic Lions-Chiefs rivalry.
I'm talking about both those teams are going to be playing the way they play. They've played the last year, where it's just going to be they're just going to go all out on offense.
I'm here for my Jared Goff MVP season.
Not going to happen.
If Jared Goff wins MVP, I'll do something.
There you go. Nice catch.
I mean, on what I'll do.
So, what about Jahmyr Gibbs? Do you think? That pick was interesting at the time, because then they flipped Swift, so now it's Jahmyr Gibbs
and David Montgomery.
So,
who's
getting the carries? Is Jahmyr Gibbs?
I think
Monty is, as Jack and I are experts on David Montgomery. David is a power back in some ways. He's short, but he's very well built.
And he can run pretty well.
I think they're going to start off with him getting a majority of the carries. I think it'll be more split half and half than some people think it will.
I can kind of picture Gibbs as more of a third down guy.
I think he'll...
Or a guy they use on passing downs.
Yeah, I think
Gibbs is really fast, and they said
he's electric.
I saw something. Yeah, I saw something
running threat. I think that there is a chance that both of them have very good games, I think Dave Montgomery will be the number one, as it is listed on the depth chart. I think he's going to be the number one. I think he'll get majority of the carries. I think Jahmyr Gibbs will be a potent weapon in the Lions' offense, if not more in the passing game than the run game. I think either way, he'll be a major key player to watch, especially this game.
Yeah, and I saw an article saying, like, the Lions said they were going to use Jahmyr Gibbs in a lot of different ways than you would expect.
That makes me think he could get a wildcat snap, maybe, on a short.
They're gonna pull a Hunter
that.
and put
something like that.
On cornerback.
But yeah, so let's see. Let's keep these short because we got a lot of games to go through. We got a lot of stuff still to talk about. Lions, Chiefs. Who do you got, Morgan?
I've Chiefs winning in an absolute shootout.
All right, Jack.
I have the Chiefs winning by 7-10.
Whoa.
7-10?
7-10?
No. I had them winning by
7-10. Okay. I was like 10-7 in a game with the Lions and the Chiefs. No. All right, Jeff.
No. Yeah.
Kansas City wins 13-7.
I think
I'm not joking, by the way.
Probably Kansas City. I'd say Kansas City probably gets this one by 2 scores because this is the toughest opponent the Lions are going to play all year.
13-7?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna. Kelsey being gone hurts them, and
that's
I want to wrap
especially
this up quick.
They don't really have a true wide receiver one at this point.
They don't. We'll get to see.
Skymore's good.
Yeah, he's fine, but unless Justin Ross comes out here and he's electric.
Yeah, I was going to say Justin Ross. We'll get to see him, but I think Kelsey out hurts them. I think they'll get running the ball well. They'll run it well, but I'll probably change my score. I think Kansas City probably wins about 20-7.
Okay, I have a change.
You think they can lock down the Lions like that?
Yeah, I think we're overhyping the Lions. I think for the season opener, they're going to hit some.
Oh yeah, Chris Jones isn't playing.
He's possible.
Travis
he's possible
Kelce
as of now.
Playing. Travis Kelce is officially not playing.
Okay.
Lions by 3.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think Chris Jones is playing either. He's holding out.
I'd be happy with the Lions win there as a Bengals fan.
Without Travis Kelce and Jones, Lions by 3.
All right, let's keep it pushing here. Next one up, we got Bengals Browns. This is a 1 o'clock slate
in Cleveland.
Let me look. This is in Cleveland.
Ooh.
So I think it's going to be interesting. I don't know if Joe Burrow's playing yet. I think he is. I think he wants to play.
I saw earlier today Burrow's going to play.
Okay, yeah, because he's been looking fine at practice. He came back from that calf strain pretty well. But notoriously has struggled to beat the Browns. And only the Browns. Like, that's the only team he's really struggled with beating consistently. And it's interesting. We'll see if Deshaun Watson's any better. The Browns could be okay. I think they're super overhyped, but they could be a threat.
The Browns have Deshaun, definitely not a bad person. Watson, starting, obviously, so that could be...
No, I'm not cutting that. I'm leaving that in.
They're bad. He's, if he isn't the equivalent to Skylar Moore again, Davis Mills, I think he was close to last year.
Yeah.
And when he was playing, then, I think they definitely have a chance considering Joe Burrow's track record versus the Browns, especially week 1, where
and especially the Bengals' track record week 1.
Yeah, exactly.
And, weeks 1 through 4 is seen because none of the starters play in the preseason. The offensive line starters don't play in the preseason, so we'll see.
Joe Burrow, if Deshaun Watson turns out to be Davis Mills again, and the Bengals are winning, I don't really care.
We'll see
what their track record is.
They got carved up by Jacoby Brissett last year on Halloween, so
we
can't really say much.
But Jacoby Brissett was better than...
I have to pick the Bengals because I'm a Bengals fan. I'd say they win by 2 scores. Morgan?
I'm on Drew's side here. I think the Bengals do win by 2 scores. They're the much better team than Cleveland. I don't understand what's going on with the Cleveland. I've seen people say that the Browns are going 13-4 this year.
That's just insanity. That's just Browns fans cope because they've never ever been good, and they finally got good, so now they're super excited about it.
Yeah, they're going 8-9 or something.
This is the first time they've been good since Bernie Kosar. So
no, yeah, exactly.
Right now.
And I don't even want to count that 2020 season.
Yeah, I mean that was a
That
bit of a
doesn't
fluke.
count.
Yep. So
I'm gonna
we got
go.
next up. Oh, yeah, sorry, I didn't even get your guys'
I
predictions.
didn't get to near Jeff's pick. I'm gonna go Bengals by 7.
I'm gonna go Bengals by 10 to 14.
I got Cincinnati probably 35-14. I think Cleveland, when Deshaun Watson played last year for like those 4 or 5 weeks or whatever, they didn't really get any offense going. I don't see anything from them besides the running game. They got one good wide receiver.
Who?
And I think Cleveland,
Yeah, who's the receiver that you think is good?
Mari Cooper.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just seeing
Peoples
if
Jones though.
I was just seeing if you were a Peoples Jones disciple or not.
Oh, no, I didn't even know he
Peoples
was
Jones
still
is
on the
good,
team.
but he's fine.
No, but I mean,
would,
Cleveland, I don't buy it. Everybody's saying,
Yeah, I don't buy it
maybe
either.
the wild card,
Neither
maybe
do
they'll
I.
win the North. There's no way. They're the
not
worst
winning the
team.
North. They're
No,
not even
they are
They're the worst
not.
team
If
in
any
that
other
division.
team than the Bengals is going to win the North, it's going to be the Ravens.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
But even then, I
They're
don't know
finishing
if
fourth,
Baltimore's
bro.
going to be that good.
That division, though,
No, Cleveland is.
that division is
Cleveland
about
is.
to be a bloodbath because the worst
Yeah, it
team
is.
in that division on paper is the Steelers, and they don't even look horrible. So
Okay.
I still think it's Cleveland, though. I don't think they do much to impress anybody in Week 1, so I have them losing 30-14.
okay. So next up, another 1:00 game. We've got the Texans and the Ravens. I think we can just rapid fire this one. Ravens by multiple scores.
Ravens.
Ravens by
Baltimore by 20.
That's my lock.
CJ Stroud
That's
is
a
going
lock
to
of the
get
league. The Ravens are going to win that
just
game.
massacred by
Yeah, Ravens
this
by 28.
Ravens defense.
Roquan Smith's gonna rush through the gap and smoke him.
Yeah. So
Texans still have like 3 to 4 years before they maybe get good again.
I don't even know, man. They're just in the pits right now.
They are.
Bill O'Brien was that savior's cornerstone, that franchise's cornerstone, and then they dumped him, and they've been nothing but garbage ever since.
Well, I mean, I understand why.
Bill
They
O'Brien
traded
wasn't
their
there.
best receiver for
O'Brien
David
wasn't
Well,
Johnson.
you know what? He made the playoffs with them. He went 9-7
He did.
reliably every year.
Whatever.
So,
Whatever.
all right. Next up, we
That's
got
true.
Buccaneers Vikings. We're sliding over to the NFC. This one should be interesting. A lot of people hating on the Vikings. I still think they're going to be decent. And then we get the first look at Baker Mayfield actually starting for a half decent team.
This is in Minnesota.
This is in Minnesota.
Yeah,
Vikings.
Minnesota.
I think Vikings
Vikings.
probably take
Yeah.
this one.
And
by 2.
Drew,
Yeah, I
you're
think-
saying the Buccaneers are not a half decent.
Yeah, they
team.
are.
They're
Look
going
at the
to
roster.
suck.
They haven't changed at all.
They're fine. They're fine.
They're fine.
It's not amazing.
Mike Evans,
I-
Chris Godwin.
Yeah,
Is
but
Leonard
Baker
Fournette
Mayfield's
still on
not
the
good.
team? I don't know.
No, I think they cut him.
They're a little worse than they were a couple years ago, obviously, but
I think their
I still think
starting
they're-
running back is Rashad White.
a very competent team, if you ask me.
Yeah.
They'll
Especially in that
finish
division.
500 and they'll challenge for the division at 500. But I think
They,
probably
it's
Vikings.
going to be
Probably Vikings by like 7 because I
Yeah.
feel like it's either going to be Vikings really close or it's just going to be a blowout by the Vikings. Because
Yeah, I
It's,
think that
I don't think there's a
That's a
world where
good
they win by like 2 scores. I think it's either by like a field goal or they win by 40.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be good just
No.
because of the quarterback play. I don't think Baker's that good. And I would not watch this game. Like, if you want to throw up, then watch this game. But I would stay away from it, but I'd probably pick Minnesota 17-14.
Okay, I can get with that. All right, more
I think-
else. You want to talk about watching a game and throwing up? We got the Panthers and the
please.
Falcons. Dude, we're just scraping the bottom of the barrel here with these matchups. Like, it's rough.
We haven't even gotten to Seattle and LA yet.
Dude, the next
So-
good one is, I don't think there's any good ones.
So Desmond Ritter. I want to talk about Desmond
Oh,
Ritter
boy.
real quick.
Cincinnati legend,
That's
Desmond
going to
Ritter.
be an interesting one. Desmond Ritter breakout season coming.
no.
No, I mean,
Is
if they can utilize Kyle
Probably,
Pitts,
he'll
they
get
can-
replaced halfway through the season by Taylor Heineke.
on paper, I think that Falcons should win this based on talent because I think it'll take a few games for Bryce Young to get fitted, especially with that Carolina receiving core. I mean, when Adam Thielen is your best receiver right now.
Oh man,
that's not a good spot to be in.
I wonder if he's got any cartilage left on his joints. Well, I don't know.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Done.
But
And
you got Bryce Young and Desmond Ritter duking it out. You know.
I have Falcons by 7.
This is actually the 2021 Bama Cincinnati game. You just don't know it yet. But yeah, and then if it couldn't, I mean, actually we gotta. I think I'd probably take the Falcons here because their running game is pretty strong. They've got Algier, Patterson, and Robinson is three-headed monster right there.
Did you see? I guess the Falcons on their depth chart listed Cordero Patterson as the Joker.
Huh.
It's like he can play anywhere.
Well, yeah, I guess he does kind of do anything.
He can play anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember when he first made that switch to running back. He was like with the Patriots, I think, and he started kind of tearing it up a little bit. I'd say I'd have to probably take the Falcons. Let's say like 20-14.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to look at in this game besides Bryce Young's first game, which I don't think is going to go well. Both of these teams are horrible. And they'll probably come December time, still be in the playoff hunt with about 6 wins. But since Atlanta being at home, I'm taking Atlanta probably like 13-0. I don't think Carolina will score.
Yeah, Carolina might be the worst team in the league, if not for the Cardinals.
I've seen Carolina fans say that they're probably going to win like 10, 11 games this year.
What?
Carolina
I've seen it. I'm not even joking.
Whoa.
The Panthers, Walter
10
Picks
games?
account.
Oh my
That's
god.
they jump out from 0 points score. That's wild.
I'm not even joking. The
Who's
Panthers, Walter
who's
Picks
quarterbacking
account.
them to 10 wins? Because it's not Bryce Young. It'll be Andy Dalton if
Yeah,
that
I like Bryce Young, but he's a rookie and he needs time to develop. And there's no way in heck that they're winning
33-year-old Adam Thielen as your best receiver.
Hey, don't count out the red rifle.
Okay,
right.
you know
We're
what?
counting them out.
That's a Hall of Fame quarterback right there.
Is a Hall of Fame quarterback.
All right, next up, it gets worse. We have the Cardinals and the Commanders. So we've got Josh Dobbs and Sam Howell going punch for punch.
Oh, God.
I like Sam Howell. I think he's going to be good.
I don't.
Commanders are a lot better than...
Are they just going to dump Taylor?
Commanders are a lot better. I mean... Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they saw, like...
Something,
I guess.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
They saw something with Sam Howell. They think
let's
that he
keep
was
this
the guy,
moving.
and they just dumped Taylor Heineke, the guy that almost beat Tom Brady in the playoffs.
Right.
I mean...
Yeah, I got Commanders 35-14. I think the Cardinals are the worst team in the league by a long
Yeah,
shot.
Arizona by a
Commanders
mile.
win
Cardinals
this.
are the worst team in the league. I'm taking Washington.
starting
Are they at
Josh
home or on the
McDowell's.
road?
It's in Washington.
It is
Doesn't
in
matter.
Washington. The crappiest
So
team
I'm
in the league.
taking. Yeah, I'm taking Washington 23-10 over Arizona.
Okay.
I'll also take
Yeah.
Washington.
I got Washington 26-10.
Okay. All right. So next up, Jaguars Colts, another one of the worst teams in the league, and then I think the Jaguars are going to be good this year.
I was going to say Jags are going to roll that.
Jacksonville's going to be
36.
good.
Yeah, and this is in Indianapolis.
The addition of Calvin Ridley was huge.
Oh my gosh, yeah. People kind of, slept on him a little bit because he was with the Falcons and they weren't very good, and then he got suspended for a year. And there'll be some growing pains getting back, but he was a monster for them. And
It was.
I think
He's going to be...
he's going to be good. Trevor Lawrence finally has like a really good receiver to throw to.
Hey, what are you saying?
Who
about
was his
Christian
best
I'm not saying
receiver?
anything about
Zay
Christian. I'm not
Jones?
saying anything about Christian Kirk. I'm just saying Calvin Ridley's a true wide receiver one.
Yeah, he is.
Kirk is.
And
I think
Christian Kirk is a two. His
Yeah.
leading receiver was Zay Jones, so I don't even know what we're talking
Yeah.
about here.
I know. I'm just.
Well, and I don't think there's not much to
I
see
just
from
know- I
Indianapolis.
just know a few
No.
Christian Kirk just like this.
Anthony Richardson's going to get eaten alive unless
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't see him doing
There's
much. So
Quentin
I'm not.
Nelson at the offensive
it's
line.
not even that good anymore.
Jonathan
Yeah,
Taylor
and-
doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor's not
Mercy
even playing.
just-
He's on the PUP list, right?
Yeah, he's not playing. Yeah. So that's a
Already.
broken team. That's a dying team. I'm gonna have to take
I mean-
Jacksonville 26-7.
Yeah.
I got
26 nothing.
Jacksonville I got Jacksonville winning 31-3.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Michael Pittman. I love Alec Pierce. That's a Cincinnati guy right there. But it's just not it at all. I think probably I'm taking Jags like 24-0.
I'm taking Jax 33-0.
Woo. All right. Here we go. This one's a little more interesting. We got Niners at Steelers. Bosa just got his new contract, so he's happy he'll be playing. That's the best defensive player in the NFC. What do we think about this one?
I think Pittsburgh wins this game. I think they upset San Francisco.
Okay.
It's in Pittsburgh. I mean, it is week 1. Crazier things have happened in week 1.
True.
I mean, it can happen. I think, and if Niners were to lose a game that they shouldn't lose, it's going to be this one.
That Steelers O-line is just in shambles, though, right now. And this is the best defense
that
in
is
the
true,
league.
yeah. That might be the problem, but Pittsburgh always figures out a way to win these type of games.
It doesn't matter. They can start 0-7. They'll be 500 by the end of the year. So.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
They've got some kind of devil magic in Pittsburgh, and they, whatever.
Well, Mike Tomlin has devil magic.
Yeah, the Mike Tomlin.
I think the Steelers win 28-26.
Ooh.
I think it'll be close.
That's scoregami.
Even work? That's got to be
scoregami. No, not 26. 28-25, I think.
Okay. That's still
game-winning field goal.
But
let's see.
How do you get to 25? 20?
I don't know. It's points.
I don't know, man. You got a safety in there somewhere. All right, next up we got I think Niners probably take this one. I don't really know what the score is going to be. I don't know what that offense is going to look like.
Yeah, I think San Francisco takes it. I don't think Pittsburgh. They're going to be good, but week 1, no. Yeah. I got It's going to be close though. I got San Francisco 31-28.
All right, Titans Saints. We're jumping back down a little bit here. Derek Carr makes his debut.
Where's that game? That game in New Orleans?
In New Orleans. Michael Thomas is back for 2 weeks before he gets hurt again.
He's not in. I guarantee he'll get hurt the first 5 minutes.
So, I don't think that I'm not very high on the Titans this year. I think they're going to get rolled week 1.
Yeah,
but people do forget that the Titans were like 9-1 or something, and then they just lost the rest of their games.
Last year,
they were not 9-1.
They were never
9-1, but like
the Titans have ever been 9-1.
Titans haven't been 9-1 since 2003.
I don't know. No, but they were like. They were
fine, but then they kind of
they weren't in the division, and I think they lost their last 7 games.
Competing for the AFC South is not a huge flex.
You could be.
I think they were the first place in the AFC South, and then they just blew it.
Yep.
And they could have if they beat Jacksonville, they would have won the division. But Josh Dobbs choked because he's terrible, and Jacksonville won.
All right, I'm taking Saints 21-14.
I'm taking the Saints 28-10.
I'm taking the Saints 56-2.
Oof.
Origami
right there. He's just been on the website. He's a little interested.
I am
Jeff,
on the website.
What do you got, Titans fan?
I've got Tennessee winning 23-20 on a last-second field goal.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Next up, we're back. We're into the 4 o'clock games here. We've got Jimmy G versus Russell Wilson. Raiders Broncos. What do we think?
I think the Broncos win this, but it's going to be an ugly game. I think they win 13-7.
Sean Payton, we don't know what he's going to do for these guys yet. I don't know if any of you saw this, but he told Russ to stop
worrying about it.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
Stop kissing the babies.
I did see that, yeah.
Is kind of the abridged version of what he said.
Yeah.
I'd say probably, I don't know. It depends if Jimmy G plays well or not, because if Jimmy G's kind of clicking, then Devontae Adams is clicking, and, then they're pretty good. I don't know if Chandler Jones is going to play. I don't know if you saw that stuff with him not being able to get into the team facility to work out. which is asinine because you're an NFL player. You should be able to get into the facility to work out. You shouldn't have to go to playing fields.
I still think this is a Saints win, though. I think
the Saints,
or not Saints, not Saints. I'm thinking
about
Broncos.
Yeah,
I still think
I'd take the Broncos
this.
here.
I think it's
by 1 or 2 scores probably.
I mean, it's not.
I think
watch any other 4:00 game. Honestly,
it's gonna be really ugly. I mean,
it's gonna be nasty.
13-7, probably, I think.
I got Denver 21-13, and just one thing on Sean Payton. This guy has as much credibility as Scott Peterson, so I wouldn't buy anything that this guy says about Russell Wilson.
Well, Sean Payton won a Super Bowl.
He led the Saints to the playoffs every single year.
Sean Payton won a Super Bowl 14 years ago.
He's
missed the playoff. He's missed the playoffs 6 years in a row. He's had virtually the best team in the league with Drew Brees for a couple of years.
Sean Payton made the playoffs in 2019 and then he retired. Or 2020.
Sean Payton missed the playoffs from like 2014 all the way up to like 2018. There was a stretch where that Saints team was horrible.
Yeah, they sucked.
You get what I mean? This team,
no, they didn't even suck. They were like 9-7 every year. It was just that the Falcons were so much better.
They made it in 2018.
That's up for debate. But this team, Sean Payton, just overall, I just wanted to get that out there. This guy's, they're hyping him up way too much. They're still going to win because the Raiders are horrible. But I wouldn't buy anything he says. Nobody's getting on the Denver train as far as I'm concerned.
All right.
What just talk my dad's college freshman roommate like that?
Well, I did.
Naperville Central legend Sean Payton. All right.
Eastern Illinois legend Sean Payton.
Next up, next 4:00 game, we got Eagles-Patriots.
Eagles kill.
Eagles are going to kill them. They're going to kill them.
I don't know.
It's crazy
I don't know
to think
what
about,
CBS
but the Eagles got better. So,
I don't know what CBS was thinking having Jim Nantz and Tony Romo go to that game instead of going to Miami, LA.
Just keep Romo away from the Josh Allen games, and I'm okay because he just I don't know what about Josh Allen
Kansas City
he likes so much, but Morgan, I can't. Don't do that.
What? I was coughing.
But he just something about Josh Allen gets him going, I guess, because he could not keep his mouth shut.
Don't even mention
good Josh Allen is.
No, he's bad with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, he's bad with Mahomes too.
Oh my god, yeah.
But I think the Eagles are going to win this by 3 or 4 scores easily. I don't think it's close.
I think that's fair.
It's in New England, but I don't think that matters at this point in the year.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, New England's not good.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I don't see anything inspiring from New England.
Right. We got Rams.
Yeah,
Seahawks.
I think if any.
All right, you go ahead, Jeff.
Just back on New England, Philly. New England didn't get better at all. These guys suck. They're going to be the worst team in the division. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Philadelphia 34-10. I mean,
apparently Juju's on the brink of disaster with his knees, which they signed this huge deal.
Yeah.
So
I'm not even joking. I've seen Patriots fans say they're going to go 11-6 or something.
It's just cope. They were good for 20 years in a row, and they can't fathom the thought of not making the playoffs. So
exactly, it's like it's eventually going to happen. Your team is eventually going to fall apart. They're not going to be good, and it's just it's what's happening right now. I don't care that Bill Belichick is one of the greatest coaches of all time. That he is no one. His team is horrible. Smith-Schuster is terrible.
He's a terrible.
Mac Jones is
one.
I wouldn't say he's terrible,
Mac Jones
but
is
he's not that good.
He's a bad wide receiver one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got.
He's too focused on TikTok.
We are shifting coasts. Rams, Seahawks. We got Geno Smith. We're getting the Jackson Smith and Jiba.
Where's this game at? Seattle?
This is in Seattle.
Okay, yeah. I think Seattle wins by 2 scores.
Yeah.
We can kind of just skip.
I'm not seeing much of the Rams this year. I think Seattle probably wins.
And
like 20
speaking of the Rams, they ruled out Cooper Kupp. He's not playing.
Yeah, no.
Okay, yeah, definitely not the Rams.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, definitely Seattle. I'd probably take them 17-10 because I don't. The Rams are going to be nothing this year.
I mean, that
so.
Seattle
thinking
offense.
Seattle
I think
31
that
to
Seattle
5.
offense looks good. They have a good offensive line. Kenneth Walker's
Yeah.
electric. They've got Metcalf, Lockett, JSN as their trio. I mean, and Geno Smith looks fine. I think he's like top 15 quarterback in the league. He's a top half of the league quarterback, which is all they need right
Which
now.
is wild. Still wild.
It's still wild to me that
and they-
Geno Smith is a top 15 quarterback in the league. But
Did they draft Devin Witherspoon too from Illinois?
Oh yeah, that was a great pick. I don't know.
He's gonna be good.
I don't know what's going on over there, but they have had 2 excellent drafts in a row, and they've had high picks. They're making the playoffs. They've signed free agents well. Like they're setting themselves up great.
So far,
Pete
absolutely
Carroll's
stolen the Broncos trade.
Yeah, Pete Carroll's doing an amazing job. They won the Broncos trade.
And I think we all thought at first maybe Denver was probably gonna win that trade because you're giving away Russell Wilson, which
Well,
who won
I
you,
think
like,
Denver would have won that
Super
trade
Bowls.
if Geno Smith hadn't turned out to be good. But since Geno
Yeah.
Smith
Sure.
came out and he was solid, they won that trade because the pieces they got draft-wise didn't have to be used on a quarterback.
Fair.
Yeah.
They could take Devin Witherspoon instead of reaching on a quarterback. Like, it helps. Dolphins Chargers.
This could be a good
This
game.
could be a good game. I
It's
think
gonna be
this
a good
game
game.
looks good. Herbo versus Tua.
Is it? Where's this at? LA.
Yep.
So it's a home game for
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think the Chargers are gonna. It's gonna be
I think
close,
the
but I think
Dolphins
the
are gonna
Chargers win.
oh,
So do I.
I'd say the Dolphins win.
I say the Chargers. I mean,
I'm with Dolphins.
the Dolphins are without Jalen Ramsey for like the majority of the season.
I don't
which
think
is
that matters.
personal.
It doesn't
That's
matter.
not the
It
biggest
doesn't
loss.
matter. I think
I just-
that
and
offense
another
is
thing-
so high power.
That's true, but I just don't trust Tua coming back. I think he'll
Okay,
take a few weeks.
no,
to-
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
No. I'm so. I'm going to say this, and you can cut it out or whatever you want. I don't care. I am so sick of this about Tua. I'm going to be honest with you here. He was 8-3 at the bye week last year. He was in the MVP conversation. He has 2 top 10 wide receivers on his team. They crapped the bed in the second half of the season. I don't really care. It's a new season. So let me say this. The Chargers coming in, they played this exact same game last year, Sunday night, and the Chargers barely beat them when the Dolphins had, I think, one of their worst games of the whole year. And it's not going to be a repeat of that because you've got guys coming in like Tyreek Hill. These guys have a lot to prove this year. They're playing with the chip on their shoulder. Everybody from ESPN to CBS to wherever the hell, other network, constantly crapping on this team, Tua getting hurt, all of this stuff. These guys are going to be angry. These guys are angry right now because they need the respect. They deserve respect. And they're going to go out, they're going to get it, and I think that they're probably going to roll over the Chargers 38-24. But, you know,
I can get with
it's
that. I don't think it's going to be that
disgusting,
much of a
right?
blowout, but I mean, I just don't. It's less that I believe so much in the Dolphins. I think they'll be good. I think they could challenge for the division. I just don't believe in the Chargers at all. I think they're a dumpster
I don't
fire
think
team.
they make the playoffs.
All they have is
They
Justin
didn't
Herbert. If you take away
improve.
Justin Herbert from that team, they are nothing.
Yeah.
They didn't improve last year.
They
again.
didn't
They
improve.
didn't do anything.
They got worse last year. Brandon Staley
They
might
didn't
be the
do
worst head
anything.
coach in the league.
Oh, he has to
probably
be.
is.
Because
He
given the
is.
roster he has and the quarterback he has, they should be making the playoffs.
Like,
And
Yeah.
they're
it's
just
They should, but
he's consistent. It's not even like, oh, it's maybe not his fault. It's kind of the players. He doesn't have a great roster. He consistently is the reason they are not making the playoffs.
oh yeah,
he
there's
screwed them out of the
still-
playoffs
That
in
was the
2021.
whole reason 2
Yeah.
years ago.
What
they
was
missed
that?
the playoffs.
I'm still appalled by that non-timeout call or that
Yeah.
timeout call. Because why would
horrendous.
you do that?
Yeah.
The
Why would
Raiders
you
were
do
going to let you.
that?
They were going to tie.
That's
they were just
insane.
gonna,
It's
they
insane.
said, "All
They
right,
were
let's
gonna
both
take
make
the
the
tie."
playoffs."
Like,
Yeah.
you know, that's just. I don't know
terrible.
what his deal is, but he is not a good head coach in the NFL. So I
No, and I
I'd
think
probably
that's
take the
gonna.
Dolphins here.
Yeah, I think it's gonna show tomorrow because everybody's kind of sick of Brandon Staley. Even Chargers fans are.
I think probably
um,
Justin Herbert's sick of Brandon Staley.
Yeah, and
Mike
I mean, you know,
McDaniels has
they'll put
shown
up points.
Mhm.
They're gonna put up points, the
Feels
Chargers,
good.
but I think
Mike Williams
The,
is going to
um,
have his one 40-point fantasy game and then
Yeah.
he'll get hurt.
But
and
I
Keenan
think
Allen will get hurt.
And Bosa
Yeah.
will get hurt.
And then you've got Josh Kelly running the ball 30 times a game. Whatever.
Miami has too much.
I changed my pick.
prove.
I'm going Miami now.
Miami has too much to prove, and they're going to win tomorrow.
Miami's going to be. They're going to be good this year, I think, at least for the first half of the year.
I think Buffalo still wins the division, but I think Miami's going to get close again.
All right. So next up, we've got I think there's two true rivalries left in the NFL. There's all of the AFC North versus all of the AFC North. And then you've got the Packers and the Bears. It's the only other rivalry where the players are actively invested in it. What do we think? This is one of the most heavily debated matchups because a lot of people think the Bears are going to be really good. A lot of people think that they're not going to be good. Like, we're kind of split here as a podcast. We've got Morgan and Jack. They think the Bears will be fine. Jeff and I are non-believers.
Hey, what is your guys' definition of how many wins do you think? Because I might be on the boat with you guys. I think they're a 6-win team.
Okay, yeah, I think they're maybe a 6-win team as well.
5.
5 is what.
Here we go.
6. I understand. I can understand with 6, but I think they're going to win 7 to 8 games. I truly think this team is going to take a step up.
You people say this every year, and you end up winning 4.
But
anyway, that's how this.
Okay,
we're talking
Justin
about the
Fields
Packers
is a
and the
true wide
Bears.
receiver one.
We're talking about the Packers and the Bears here.
We're talking about the Packers and the Bears.
Week
1. Week 1.
Are the Packers going to beat the Bears week 1?
No, I think in Chicago, I just don't. From a non-biased standpoint, I don't think Jordan Love's going to be any good.
I think it would be the funniest thing of all time if Jordan Love comes out and is really good. I think that would be hilarious.
That would be
because
funny.
I have no stake in either team, so this would be hilarious to me. Because after 25 years of Packers fans having a Hall of Fame quarterback, if Jordan Love comes out and is a Pro Bowler, I'm just gonna laugh so hard because I'm so sick of the Bears fans right now.
But here's the thing, Packers fans are overreacting a little bit on Jordan Love. He played good in preseason, but he played practice squad players.
So did the Bears.
Yeah.
Yes,
Justin Fields threw 3 yards of passing and got 3 touchdowns.
3 screen passes.
And got 180 yards passing. And people are like, "Oh, he's actually that guy." Anybody can throw a 3-yard screen pass. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not. No, I'm not with those type of people that.
You were one of those types of people.
No.
Oh yeah.
I'm not. I'm
We've
not.
seen
I'm
them
just trying to say.
I've seen the messages. Get out of here.
Here, I can pull up the group chat.
Pull up the receipts right now.
No, don't pull it.
Oh, you're right. I can't pull up the receipt because Jeff's in the group chat.
All right. Okay, so I think the Packers are probably going to take this one.
Well, I got to go with the Bears because the Packers. Yeah, and I mean Jordan Love, he's basically a rookie. I mean, I know he's got a couple of years, but he hasn't played any games. So I think with that inexperience, Fields has 2 seasons under his belt. I think the Bears will take it. Don't get too excited, but I think the Bears will win it 24-17.
It's just going to be pandemonium if the Bears win. People are just going to be all over it, and then they'll get mollywopped the next week, and it'll be over.
I think the Bears win. I think it's going to be.
They play Tampa week 2. They're not going to get mollywopped.
Well, if they lose to Tampa, then where are we?
I think Justin Fields has an okay game. DJ Moore and the running game does the big work here. Defense is solid. The offensive line improved. I think it's nothing. It's nothing to the point where they're an 8-9 win team. It's enough to beat a quarterback who really hasn't had NFL experience. I think it's enough for that. I think Bears will take it. Not going to be a super big blowout or anything impressive. I think they take it just because of experience and because they have a better roster on paper right now. Nothing big though. Mm-hmm. I'm in the 6. Yeah. I'm in the 6 wins max Bears.
I'm also in the 6 wins max because I just don't believe in Justin Fields.
Neither do I.
Same here.
All right. We got another huge rivalry game. We got Cowboys-Giants.
Oh yeah, game of the week,
Yeah,
people.
America's game. Woohoo! We get to watch the Cowboys stink it up against the Giants.
I'm going to shut
Sunday Night
myself
Football.
up for a while we talk about this. I'm just going to say, not going to say anything about this game because I will go on a I hate the Cowboys rant.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Dak Prescott's... I think he's declining. I think Daniel Jones is probably... I'm trying to think here. Daniel Jones might be the best true quarterback in that division. Just in terms of throwing the ball. And he can also run it a lot. He's maybe the most underrated rusher out of the pocket in the league. But I just think the Giants are so much better. The Giants are going to be second in that division. They'll make the wild card. They'll cause some trouble. Saquon's going to come out. He's going to play well. He's in his a contract year again. I'd probably take Giants over the Cowboys 35-28.
Yeah. I think the Giants are also going to win. I just don't see why people think the Cowboys are going to be so good. They never are. They always disappoint. They always do this.
Especially this year.
Giants.
I mean, it's just
Ryan Dable is a good coach.
yeah.
I like what he's doing in New York. I think the Giants win this. I don't think it'd be as high scoring as you say, Drew, but I think they win 21-10.
Okay. Jeff?
I think
Cowboys.
I'm excited for this. I think that Giants and Cowboys, it's going to be pretty good. I think historically over the years, they've had good games on Sunday night, back with Eli and Tony Romo. But I think the Cowboys being on the road for this game is going to be a big factor because I think if it's in Dallas, the Cowboys will kind of get into a groove. I don't think that's going to happen here against the Giants. And I think New York, they have too much to prove as well. I think that I kind of throw them in with the Dolphins. I think that this is a team where a lot of people are wondering how they're going to do, how's Daniel Jones going to do. And I think that they're going to come out strong, at least for this first week. I think it'll take them a little bit of time to get going throughout the game. So I think it's going to be more on the low scoring side. So I'm going to go with the Giants 21-10.
All right. Monday Night Football, baby. Oh, you want to give a prediction here?
Yeah, so I'm on the firm Cowboys are dog here. I think they're bad. Like, not like worst team in the NFL bad, but like they really have nothing that I see. I mean, to like make them a good team anymore. I mean, Zeke's obviously gone. I mean, Tony Pollard's
Deuce Vaughn.
good, but
Deuce Vaughn season.
Deuce Vaughn.
He'll be good.
No, he actually might be good because
he's good.
Yeah.
He
looks
pretty
hard
good
to
in
tackle,
practice.
man. He looks hard to tackle.
Yeah.
As low as you
He's
want to get
small
as a
too,
linebacker,
so it's gonna be harder.
he's just lower because that's just where he is. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
those are the hardest guys to tackle, are the short guys that are strong like that.
Frank Gore.
He was a beast at Kansas
Frank Gore.
State.
I mean, what's his name? Darren Sproles was good, and he was like 5'6".
Yeah.
Either
So
way, I think that this is a Giants win. I think Daniel Jones is a better quarterback right now. Dak just doesn't look good. Doesn't have wide receivers that are incredible throughout you. Neither does Daniel Jones.
I mean, CeeDee Lamb is fine. Brandon
week.
Cooks is always fine. I just don't think Dak's that good. If we're being completely honest, I just don't think he's that good.
Yeah.
But yeah, Monday Night Football. We got this might be the best game of the week, and this is Bills Jets in New York.
It depends on if Aaron Rodgers is good.
Yeah, honestly,
I think Buffalo wins, but I think it'll be close.
I just don't think Buffalo's that good, but I'm a kind of a Buffalo hater. So,
I think Bills win.
You and me same.
Yeah, I mean, just the Jets. The roster is just incredible. On paper, the Jets are one of the best teams in the league.
You see,
Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers,
did you see DJ Reed said? You heard DJ Reed said?
Oh yeah, that they were like the best defense in the league or something like that.
He said this defense is going to be the best defense since the '85 Bears.
Well, okay, I don't know about that, but They're going to be good.
I don't.
Their
They're going to be good, but I don't think they're going to be
specifically their secondary is going to be incredible.
Yeah.
But I mean, their front seven is fine too. I think they're fine.
If the Jets win, Stephon Diggs is going to throw a hissy fit.
Yeah, it's going to... Well, Stephon Diggs has been disgruntled at the beginning of the offseason, or at the beginning of the season every year for the past 5 years. And it never really goes anywhere. The only time it did is when he got traded to Buffalo. And everybody kind of saw that coming because Justin Jefferson was the man at that point. Or he was not... Everybody knew that someone new was coming. Like, it wasn't going to be Diggs. I think the Jets take
I still
this
think
one.
Buffalo wins.
I think the Jets take
I still
this
think, yeah.
If Dalvin Cook comes out and is good out of the backfield, then the Jets win this one.
It's in New York, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think Buffalo's a better team. I think that as a Dolphins fans, both of these teams can burn in hell. The Jets a little bit more than the Bills. But, I think with Aaron Rodgers, ESPN is just enamored over all of this with Rodgers and the Jets.
I mean, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, but they're like...
I think he's sandbagged last year. I think he's sandbagged so heavy last year. I think he's going to be good.
So let me get to my point. So
as long as he's not torching the Bears, I'm fine with it.
The Jets on paper, yes, they're good. I don't buy the Rodgers hype, and I definitely don't buy Mike Greenberg has a framed Rodgers jersey on the set of Get Up. The hype, I don't get it. I mean, it's Rodgers. The guy's almost 40 years old. I don't think he's barely going to crack 200 yards throwing.
Ooh, I don't know about that. Garrett Wilson.
I don't buy it.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson is going to be the next breakout star receiver.
Good. Yes, he is, but I don't think Rodgers is going to be as good. And I think probably
Jeff.
Buffalo.
Here's the problem, Jeff. Last year, the Jets almost made the playoffs, and they had Zach Wilson and Mike White throwing the football. So now, even if Aaron Rodgers isn't as good as he has been in the past, which is a Hall of Fame player, if he's maybe 75% of what that was, maybe even just 75% of last year, this Jets team is going to be elite. Because now they have someone competent, someone smart, someone who's a leader throwing the football, and not Zach Wilson crying on the sidelines when he gets benched.
Right, but I don't think that's not going to happen right away, and I don't think
it doesn't have to. They don't have to be elite right away. As long as Aaron Rodgers doesn't suck, they're going to be good. And I think
as long as the Cougar Captivator Cougar Captivator Zach Wilson isn't the starting quarterback, the Jets are an amazing team.
Listen, I gotta say this is that Rodgers. I don't think he's not going to be throwing for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Why not?
Because it's Aaron Rodgers. There was a game last year. He's throwing for 131. Listen. This is not 2019 Aaron Rodgers. This is 2023 Rodgers. Listen. I'm going to say something here. Peyton Manning, coming off of 2013 and 2014, was the best quarterback in the league. And he started 2015. He was. After 2013, there was no question about it.
It was not. No.
Dude, he came off of a 55 touchdown
threw 55 touchdowns. That doesn't mean he was the best quarterback in the league. It was easily Brady.
Well, the players voted for it, and he won MVP.
Oh, the players voted for it. What a surprise. Since when have we ever considered that?
We're not getting into it. So listen, let me just make my point. Can I just say something about the Jets? I don't think Rodgers, he's not going to get to that 300 yards and 3 touchdown games. He's aging, and it's going to affect him. This team's still going to be good, but I think that, playing at home on 9/11, if you lose to your division rivals on 9/11, that's just going to be pathetic. And you know what? They probably will. So I think the Bills are going to win 27-13. I think it'll take some time for the Jets to get going, but it won't happen, unfortunately, for the city on Monday night. So I got to go with the Bills.
I think this year I got Jets, Dolphins, Bills, Patriots in that division.
That's wild.
No, it's not wild. I think that's 100% reasonable. No. And I also think it's 100% reasonable that the Dolphins and the Bills make the playoffs both.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about the AFC right now is that you've got 3 playoff-worthy teams in the AFC East. You've got 3 playoff-worthy teams in the AFC North. You've got 1 in the AFC South. And you've got 2, maybe.
1 to
I don't know
2
if the
in
Chargers... It depends what the Chargers look like. Depends what the Broncos look like, even, in the AFC West. So you're going to have, realistically, 2 teams that win, 9 games that don't make the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, they shouldn't because you're only 1 game over 500.
Well, yeah,
So,
but still, you've got teams in the NFC winning 6 games, competing for the playoffs.
Well, that's a
up until
different
week
story.
18.
That's a different
It's just
story.
it's a bloodbath in the AFC right now. It's not
it is.
wrong to say that there's maybe more good teams than there are bad teams in the AFC right now.
I mean, look at the quarterbacks in the AFC compared to the NFC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The NFC, who's the
big
best quarterback in the NFC?
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts, maybe?
Jalen Hurts, probably.
Yeah.
Kirk.
Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott.
No.
I have an objection. We have been an objection established from Jalen Hurts being the NFC best quarterback in the league. My roommate would like to establish that Desmond Ridder is actually the best quarterback in the NFC.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, it's just a bloodbath in the AFC, but yeah. So, that's kind of our run-through of week 1 there. Any other stories we want to talk about? Anything else? I think next episode we'll probably... It's going to be interesting because we're going to have football all this time to talk about football. That's all we talked about for an hour and a half this time. We're going to have... Next time we record, the wild card race is going to be down to the wire for the MLB. That's still hot right now. And 3 of our 4 teams are in it. Sorry, Morgan. But yeah, so that's gonna bring this episode to a close. That was a bit of a football heavy one. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. The @ are in the description, and make sure to go watch our other episodes. And we'll see you guys next week, hopefully.